business doing, and we want that bag, and we want that here, we want that drink, we'll let them call us any kind of names. We'll tell them to go smack somebody's baby. We'll be willing to do any of that. But we get in here, we got a couple hours of sobriety, and we don't like nothing. Can't talk to me like that.
Say that again.
We don't like nothing. Can't talk to me like that. It's simple, but when you want that other stuff, you'll never talk any old kind of way. So if you don't like it, so what? Stay anyway. Want your sobriety just as bad if you wanted that hit. All right, I'm going to turn this over to my husband. I know y'all tired of hearing me already. That's okay. If I got something else to say, I will jump up.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I missed y'all last week. Yeah, I was going to try to come, and then I actually got sick because Tuesday I had to do my father's eulogy at his funeral. Monday I got sick. I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. Because you know, some stuff you try to do, you be like, yeah, I got it. Monday out of nowhere, I was like, oh man, I feel nauseous. I think I was getting nervous or something, I don't know. But I did miss y'all. Thanks for reading the mission statement. I told y'all, Minor Adjustments program is created for you guys. We created the program and tried to inspire you and get you and put you in a position where so you'll be running the group somewhere in your neighborhoods, and instead of people looking at you tearing up your own neighborhood, you know that's what we'll be doing. You'll be helping building up your own neighborhood. Everybody say, to attain my sobriety is easy. To attain my sobriety is easy. My challenge is to maintain it. To maintain it. To attain our sobriety is easy. To attain our sobriety is easy. Our challenge is to maintain it. To maintain it. Man, I'm trying to raise an army, like a whole bunch of people who came through stuff and just like, no, we're going to change our communities. Like, you know, no, we're going to do something different. Y'all all can do it, and it's awesome that the word obtain means, the reason why I say that to all the new people, again, I got 22 years struggling with addictions and everything, and the last rehab I actually was in was, one of them was this program right here. I used to sit right there, somewhere in that area. So that seat you're sitting on, yeah. So, 22 years of struggling with all types of addictions and everything, and then I'm an 8-time published author since August 2009. Every year since then, I have wrote a book, had it published. I'm gonna write one. I'm gonna have another one coming, the 9th book called "I'm a Giant Killer," and I just changed my life when we created this program to try to show people that. Yes, you can go and get a lot of education and do a lot of different things in your life, and I'm not against education. But I just want to show individuals that what you have been through have actually been something that you can use in our society today. Everything y'all have been through is a Bible verse that said the last shall be first. And the first shall be last. You was the last a long time. But now, it's your turn to be first. And now if you look at society today, they don't even know what to do with the kids with all these drugs and all that stuff. But you know who do? Every last one of you. Y'all first now. But are you going to keep going down the path of the last? Or are you going to say, hold on. Yeah. You don't know what to do with your kid? I do. Let me talk to him. And you can tell him where he's actually hidden. Everybody say anywhere. But back. That's our mission statement, and it came from Jeremiah 7:24, and it says, yet they did not obey and inclined their ear to me, but they followed the counsel of their own hearts, and they kept going backwards instead of forward. Everybody say anywhere. But back. So last week, hopefully y'all breezed through the chapters and looked at it at least. We're going to move. I'm not going to go over that chapter, but I'm hoping that some of y'all probably did, some of y'all didn't. Hopefully, if we have time, I might breeze over some of it. But we're going to talk about endurance today. Page 45. Endurance, which is a great chapter. Endurance. And then, come on Every week I like to have an expectation for the group. My expectation for this particular group is everyone will realize that the distractions are not the battle. Everybody say distractions are not my battle. I'll get back to it. Unit 4, Part 1, you must have endurance. Rising to a challenge reveals hidden abilities within you that otherwise would have remained dormant. You don't know what you're capable of until you have to cope. Wise people like you and I have always understood the connection between suffering and growth. When there is something great inside of a man or woman, there will be obstacles in their path that are designed to stimulate their minds, harden their natures, and improve wherever they may be incompetent. All great people like you and I must have endurance. Everybody say, I must have endurance. If you look up here when I said that, everyone will realize that the distraction is not the battle. The reason why I say that the distraction is not the battle is because the battle is, can you remain focused despite the distractions? The distractions aren't your battle. The battle is, can you remain focused despite the distraction? Why? Because ultimately, distractions only come our way to get us away from something we are doing well. If you're doing wrong, notice nothing will come your way to try to distract you from doing wrong. It's only when we're trying to do right that things come to distract us from what we're doing. So the distractions aren't the battle. And just like my own personal life, I always use my own personal life, right? When my father eventually went to the hospital, and then eventually he had to go to, he got sick, and eventually he transitioned, right? All that happened while I was in the midst of having to go somewhere and help other individuals. It was a distraction. But the distraction was not a battle, was not the battle. It was, can I remain focused? I'm talking about, he went in Friday and I had to speak Saturday. And the whole time I was speaking, I was thinking I should be there with my father. But I realized that I teach people that the distraction is not the battle. Can you remain focused? Because no matter what you're doing in your lives, every time you're doing good, I said it yesterday, I spoke at Wilkesboro. I was in Wilkesboro, Salvation Army yesterday. I told him, I said, listen, I said, when you're doing good is when you find free cocaine. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. People will come to you, but they don't do that when you're running. When you out there actively using, you only get these opportunities when you're actually trying. You can be 30 days clean, and that's when everybody want to give you all the stuff that you're trying to stay away from. But when you're actively using, they stingy. It's tight. Like, I ain't got nothing. I sent you a copy. What you mean you don't have it? I just sent you buy it. But that's the distraction. But that's not the battle. Can you remain focused despite the distractions? The word endurance means the ability or strength to continue or last, especially despite fatigue or stress or other adverse conditions. The endurance. You have to have endurance. Most people don't succeed because they don't endure through the process. We did not get where we are in our recovery lives or our criminal lifestyle lives just like that. We didn't come out of our parents, come out of our mother and just end up doing drugs. No. It was a process. But when we're trying to go through the process of recovery, people come in programs and then they leave. They don't endure. They don't endure through the process of change. It's not going to just happen like that. And every time I would get to that door of succeeding in my recovery walk, I would always leave, go back and get high. And my mother used to always tell me, son, you was right there. I was like, what you talking about? She said, if you would have kicked through that disappointment you felt or the urge to go back and use, you would have succeeded. And I'll never forget the first time I got to a place where something came into my life. I was actually here, let me tell y'all. We used to, when I was here, I remember I tell y'all about grouping yourselves up with people who had the same mindset where you want to go and you're trying to succeed. And again, you don't got to tell on nobody in here. You don't got to do none of that. But you can tell the ones who's trying to change their lives. You can just tell by their conversations. I used to have like 5 or 6 individuals, and we used to be reading and studying like different books that help you, life skills books, the Bible, whatever we would find to try to help us in our recovery. And I remember I went on a pass one day, and a situation happened to me, and I was in town, I was home on a pass, and when it happened, I was thinking, normally this would be my excuse to go ahead and get high. Because it happened, I was on furlough or whatever, and I was out there. But I woke up the next day, and I shocked myself. I said, I didn't use. The thing happened Saturday. I woke up Sunday, and I didn't use. And then when I was thinking about using again, after the incident happened, the people that I used to talk to in the group here came to my mind. It was like, if you go use now, and you got people you're trying to mentor, while I was in here, I was doing it. They're going to be like, man, if he fell, I ain't got no shot. So they motivated me to come back. I had to endure through that process, and you're going to have to do the same thing. Everybody say, I must have endurance. You're going to have to endure. You're not going to like every rule they got around here. Matter of fact, I ain't like none of them. You ain't going to like it. I just thought that was stupid. But the thing that I loved about Miss Diaz when I was here is she was consistent. It wasn't like she let him get away with it and penalize me. She would knock him in the head and him. That's what I used to like. She was consistent. Like, if this was the rule, that's the rule. So she was consistent. So even though I didn't like it, you're going to have to endure. While you're in the process of going through recovery, you're going to have to endure. Like my wife said, we endure through process, or we endure through different things while we're actively using or actively committing crime. Like she said, everything bothers us when we're in recovery. Why I gotta get up? Why I gotta work? Why I gotta do this? Why we gotta go to the warehouse? Why they only pay us this? All that stuff come up when we getting in recovery. Wait, why the breakfast? The kitchen guy? All that stuff we worry about. But when we actively using, like my wife said, I tell people all the time, we would have kids younger than us, disrespecting us, calling us all types of names, and the only reason we endured through that is because they had the drug we wanted. Somebody used to be like, man, I'll slap your head off your shoulders. But being as though he had what I wanted, I was willing to endure through that. If I was willing to endure through that, then on this side, you have the same capabilities to endure through this. But we give up. We complicate it. It's not that hard. We really are all successful already. We just have to apply the information we have. Everybody say, I must have endurance. I must have endurance. It says, who or what stimulates your mind? Who or what stimulates your mind? Me, what stimulates my mind, I try not to waste my words and conversations with people. I like to use educational things, or seeing people grow, or seeing people's lives change. That stimulates me. Nonsense, I ain't got time. I'm 48. I just don't have time. I don't care if it's family members. I don't care if it's people that I go to church with. I don't have time for nonsense. People are dying. I just buried my dad. And the thing about that, death is come to everybody. But sometimes you have people who you are taking to the hospital over and over, not saying that we're preparing for them to die, but when you're constantly taking somebody to the hospital about issues that they have, you kind of like, But this wasn't that type of situation. This was just like, dad here, dad gone. No preparation. What stimulates your mind? What have you had to endure through? That's a question somebody answered. What have you had to endure through? Anybody?
Pain. Thick and thin.
Huh?
Thick and thin.
And pain. Anybody else?
Addiction and separation.
Addiction and separation. Anybody else?
Mine is death.
Death? True. Prison.
Lies.
Lies. What's your name again? Yeah. Yeah, every time I'm looking at you.
Being homeless.
Being homeless. Not having your daughter. Addiction. All that stuff that you have to endure through, those are things, everybody has to endure through something. And if you can play your life back some, you can, even though I said it anyway, but if you play back some of the things that you have endured through, it's the same thing that you have in you to endure through this process as well. You just got to channel it into that direction. Nobody in this room has to ever go back to using any drug again. Never. You never have. My mentor told me, Michael, there's no need to do any more research. It's all bad. He said, if you want to go try, I'm telling you, it's still bad. All the results that come out of it is bad. He said, don't do no more research. That scientists don't need no more people to study your brain and find out. You die, they study your brain. Like, what did he do? What happened?
Well, this chapter is called "You Must Have Endurance." So all those things that you guys named out, in order for you to have said them, you must be here. So that means you have endurance already.
Absolutely.
You made it through, you said death, homelessness, addiction, shame, not having a relationship with your kids. I mean, all the things that you could have named. You're sitting here naming it. So that means you already have endurance.
Already.
You just didn't think that's what it was. So you have the capability to endure those type of things. We're trying to get you to tap into that and use it to endure the good things that are awaiting you. Keep going, endure this part, this transition of what's happening in your life right now. If you can make it through all of that, this is the step to the good stuff.
If you just keep going, I cannot, man, listen. I mean, some stuff is just that comes, it's just coming because I kept going. I kept enduring, and again, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I just kept enduring. I mean, I'm not telling you you're going to have a red carpet and everybody going to pull out this, you got time clean and throw the rose petals down. You ain't Jesus. No, some people going to crucify you still. They're going to still hate you. Some people aren't going to believe in you. But you still, if you just keep going, if you just keep enduring, you're going to have to endure through some things. You're going to have to, the key is to go forward. Don't go back. You got to keep enduring. As long as you have endurance in you, because you made it this far. And everybody in here knows someone, if you like me, you know somebody that did the exact same thing you did that you know personally and they did. Everybody in here can think like, you can think right now like, man. But you here. So it's the reason why you made it this far, because I actually didn't think I had an age limit. When I was running the streets, I was already like, I'm not even making it to 40. What's that? I ain't living that long. I ain't even living to 40. But you got to keep enduring. Where has your greatest challenge come from? Oh, hold on. It says all things, ain't in your book. It says all change is difficult. That's why you'll have to endure through it. All change is difficult. That's why you have to endure through it, even like in death. So I was talking to one of the guys came in, he said he lost his father too, and he said, I'm still going through it because it was a change. It's all change is difficult. Where has your greatest challenge come from, somebody? Where have your greatest challenge come from, young ladies? Anybody? Where your greatest challenge come from? Staying clean?
Right here.
Anybody else?
Myself.
Good.
I had to grieve when my mom died.
How to grieve?
I didn't know how to grieve.
That was your greatest challenge. Anybody else?
I'm seeing the doctors put a plug on my best friend.
Seeing who?
Seeing he at the hospital, he was brain dead, and his dad was going to leave a warning for a couple minutes, but he said it's no use because if you do come out of it, it's like the lowest part of your brain is a noodle, so he's gonna be brain dead. So he pulled the plug.
That's tough. Being powerless, that's your greatest challenge. Rationalization, yeah, that's a good one. Anybody else? Come on, where your greatest challenge came from?
Forgiving myself.
That's a good one, too. Oh, forgiving yourself. God, every time I hear somebody say forgiving yourself, I always tell them that God forgave you. So forgive yourself. Everything you did, He forgave you for. Finding yourself. That takes isolation too. A lot of times, especially men, we don't like to isolate ourselves. And you get there, you sit there and just like meditate, just listen to the thoughts you have. Because if you sit by yourself, when you isolate yourself, especially as a man, sometimes we don't even want to hear the thoughts we hear. We be like, man, why I'm thinking that? But you need to find out why you're having these thoughts about your life and about yourself.
What about relationships?
That's a challenge for you? One of your greatest challenges? That's a good one too. The reason why I'm asking y'all, because if y'all write them down in the book, where your greatest challenge come from, anything that you know you can change. It's the person who don't want to admit that this is my greatest challenge. Like succeeding or self-sabotage is one of the greatest things that you see in recovery is when somebody about to transition or go into another step or another phase, if you will, of their recovery. Normally they go get drunk or get high right before they get ready to transition. Why? Because their greatest fear is success. It's succeeding. Because a lot of times when we succeed, I remember a few times I used to say, I just want to be a bum. Why? Because I didn't want the responsibility of being their father. So I was like, let me just be a bum. Fear. It was a fear of trying to succeed. So whatever your greatest challenge is, if you write them down, then you'll be able to do something about it. What are you capable of? Positively. Did you ever think you would have made it this far? Not me. I didn't think I was going to make it this far. Yeah, that's one of the things that made me believe in God, because who else pulled this off? There was nobody else can pull it off. That's what made me build my spiritual foundation, because there was no possible way. Did you learn and grow from your suffering?
Yes.
Woo-hoo! How can you tell if you learned to grow from something that you suffered?
You lose your resentments.
Huh?
You lose your resentments.
That's one. And what else? Huh?
Because you suffer to comfort others and you share your experience, strength and hope with other people when you suffer.
And when you learn from your suffering.
Yeah.
You learn, when a person who learns from it never repeats it. You won't never have to tell anybody you learned from it. From this point forward. You never, because you're going to have to be basically crazy. If you saying, if I got something on his arm and I'm poking him, he like, yo, this hurting. And I stop, and I come back and he letting me do it again. It wasn't hurting that bad. Why you keep letting me poke you? Stop. And then I come back and do it again. You can always tell a person who learned from their suffering. They never repeat it. My granddaughter is my prime example. People would be ironing their clothes in the house. And they would be in there ironing. We always tell her, hey, mama, don't touch that arm. Somebody else arm, she go over there. Mama, stay away from that. Don't do that. That thing's hot. Get out of there. One day, we was in the room. Somebody went to put the arm up, went to go grab that shirt, came back. All we heard, ah! We ran out there. She done grabbed the arm. Next day, my wife was home. Me and her went out. We was walking in the door. As soon as we opened the door, she said, Papa, hot! She seen my wife on it. As soon as we came in the door, she said, hot! I said, you learned. She learned from her suffering. That as soon as she seen it, she didn't even get in the door. She said, hot. And you got to remember that. When you get out of here and you see people offering you drugs, they might don't know what you mean. Just say, hot. Y'all never forget my granddaughter taught y'all something. You learn from your suffering. As soon as you see it, you say, hot. They going to be like, man, that man done went crazy. But you know, you got it. Whatever works, man. I told you, make it simple. As soon as you see you hot, they're going to be like, man, this joker done went crazy. But you know, it triggers something in you. The key is about you. They might don't understand it, but I bet you be like, nah. Pop, pop, hot. Because you got to learn from your suffering. She learned from her suffering. She learned from touching it and getting burnt. So when she came and she was in contact, or she wasn't even in the door yet, she singed it. As soon as she singed it, she said, pop, pop. She grabbed my leg. That's hot. And everywhere I go, I think about, as soon as I see something I ain't supposed to do, I say, yeah, that's hot. But you get it. I'm telling you. Because you're all going to come in contact with stuff. But you got to have something that trigger. That's why I say don't complicate this thing. Make it simple. Nobody else is around. You're going to know what you're talking about, but it'll trigger your brain. You sitting there like, that's hot. That's hot. You got to use it. You'll never forget it. Every time you see it on, you're going to think about my granddaughter. Hot. Do you think you waste your energy? Do you think you waste your energy? The next line, it's page 47, it says, I've got very good at scheduling my life, scheduling the scene and preparing myself for knowing, saving the energy, consuming the energy, knowing when to go for it, and having the available reserve to be able to do that. You have to think about that because it's endurance. Does anybody think that you didn't get what you wanted because you didn't have the talent or the strength or the commitment to get it? No. You lacked endurance. You're talented enough to do it. You had the strength to do it. You had the commitment to do it. Recovery, I mean. Living a lifestyle different from the lifestyle we used to do. But you lacked endurance. You can never break through that threshold. You lack endurance, and that's why you have to get through it. And one of the things that I always tell people is when you face with the opportunity to do something wrong, press through. You don't have to do it. Press through that, and on the opposite side of something wrong is something good for you. But we just lack endurance. We never get to that part where we want to press through. We have to press through. Everybody say press. Press. It's a Bible verse. It's Hebrews 10:36. It says, you have need of endurance, so that after you have done God's will, you may receive the promise. Every time you get ready to do something, and it wants to negatively, anything negative is trying to stop you from getting the promise. That's how I know. Every time I get faced with some type of situation that's not good for my life, I always press through it. I used to run from it and just say, y'all don't want to give me the job? Yeah, because I did drugs, committed crime. Yeah, all right, whatever, then I'll leave. But not knowing, I should have tried the business down the street. If I would have said, okay, you don't want to hire me. That's not every business on that road. I could have pressed through it and tried. But every time I got to the part where it was some type of resistance, I just said, I'm done. I'm going back to get high. They don't want to give me a job. And sometimes I was in facilities where they say, we'll hire you before I went home, like you can stay and work here. But I left the program, went out there, didn't get a job, and went back to use, not even realizing they would have hired me. You know what I was worried about? Wasn't enough money. Yeah. I'm like, there ain't enough money. Now I don't got no money, and I'm using it. So I'm sitting there like, you's a dummy. You could have took that, not enough money, and still been sober, but I lacked endurance. I didn't endure. So you have to have endurance. 48. It says, thought for the day. Come what may, all bad fortunes is to be conquered by what? Endurance. All bad fortune. The only thing that you would need to do while you're in the endurance stage, this ain't in your book. The only thing that, I'm gonna help y'all out too. All the people who will facilitating, it's like a facilitator's manual too. So you'll have your own facilitator manual, because some of y'all gonna be facilitating mind adjustments program. Ask me how I know. I don't know. I'm just saying. Some of y'all gonna be doing this. That's my purpose. I don't do it without trying to get people to stir them up. They're like, yo, come on, you can do this too. But the thing about mind adjustment facilitators, y'all all gonna have your own unique styles. I don't want you to be like me. I want you to actually be like you. Because the joy of coming and seeing you facilitate a program, and me and my wife come and see you up there or in your community doing it, you know how good that feels? Like you helping your community, and we come and you got your own unique style and you're doing it. It makes us feel so good. We cry at stuff like that, like, go boy, do it. Go, young lady, you can do it. Because we have the baton mentality, my wife and I. This is the type of spirit we got. In a race, in a 4x100 relay, they have one baton, 4 runners. When one run, he passed to the next person. When the next person run, they pass it to the next person. When the last person get over the finish line, if they win, what they all do? They all celebrate. So if we get something that God gave us, we pass the baton, you run past the baton. When y'all all get over the finish line, even though I was the first runner, we all celebrate. That's the type of stuff I want. It ain't just about me or my wife. It's about you. It's about you. It's about you. And it's about your communities, building up our communities. Because honestly, the drugs and stuff is tearing our communities up. But we need giant killers. We need people to come up, raise themselves up, and change their communities. I don't want to die and have people talk about how much drugs I did. I want to leave this earth having people talking about how much change I created. I want them to talk about how many people we tried to help, how many people we tried to inspire, how many people we tried to lead down the right path. Not that, I don't want no fake obituary. I don't want you to create something. You're talking about, yeah, this guy was nice. Man, he just robbed this guy. I just seen him. I don't want no fake one. I want one when they read it, exactly what it was. So y'all gotta all have endurance. Only thing you need to do, remember, while you're in the endurance stage, is stay on your feet. Everybody say, stay on my feet. Stay on my feet. Watch this. An olive has to go through 3 stages before the oil can run. It has to go through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing. And just like that olive, some of us feel like we went through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing. And we are right. But just like that olive, you went through what you went through just to get your oil, the purpose in you, to flow. One of the things you must learn to develop in the endurance stage, pay attention y'all, is you must learn how to handle discouragement. One of the things you will have to learn while you're going through your endurance stage, if you have to learn how to handle discouragement. Why am I telling you this? Because I do not want you to leave these facilities and go out there and think people are going to pull out a red carpet and you're going to be flying on these clouds because you're in recovery. You need to have endurance because you have to learn how to handle discouragement. There will be days when you get discouraged, but that discouragement is only designed, I told you, to get you to go back. You have to learn how to handle discouragement. Parents won't forgive you all the time. Children won't forgive you all the time. People you rob won't forgive you all the time. Employers may not give you your job back. I don't want you to leave here and be shocked you have to learn how to handle discouragement. Everybody say, I must have endurance. I don't want to feed you some stuff that it's going to be okay. It may not. But it's still not worth you going back to where you came from. It may not be okay. I went home, I ain't had no job when I got out. No, it may not. I tell people all the time, my wife, they say, how do you have a wife for 2.5 months, you was going to a place and you wasn't getting a check? How did she let you do that? You wasn't even bringing money home. I said it was easy. She considered money staying in her check a paycheck. Because I was taking all the money and getting crap. So she figured, hey, if I keep my check, I guess that's 2 checks. But you're going to be discouraged sometimes. I don't want you to, I hate to see friends and stuff that I deal with outside of programs, and they come and they tell me about the things that they got discouraged at, and I'm like, I told you. It's okay though. You're going to feel, you just have to learn how to handle discouragement. You're going to get discouraged sometimes. I was discouraged sometimes when I brought drugs, and it was bad. It wasn't good. I was discouraged, but I handled that. I just never copped from them no more. Same thing. I was discouraged because I spent my money. But I kept going. So it's the same thing. The only thing you need to do while you're in an endurance stage is stay on your feet. And the reason why I say that, everybody say stay on your feet. Stay on your feet. The reason why I say that, when I was a kid, they had a toy out in the 70s. I believe it was 1970s, somewhere like that. But this particular toy, I used to always get a kick out of it. I used to like the toy. And when I say it, some of y'all might remember it, and some of y'all might be a little bit too young. But the toy that I used to like, it was called Weebles Wobble. Come on, yeah, some of y'all. The slogan was, Weebles Wobble, but come on, y'all got it. Listen to me. If you can use that same thing in your recovery, the only thing you have to do when you're in the endurance stage is stay on your feet. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. You can do the exact same thing. You will get discouraged, but all you got to do is stay on your feet. Everybody say, Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Come on, man. I used to love the game because they used to go over there and it would come up and it go over there and it would come up. Then when I got older, I said, you know, I can use that. That's our lives. You're going to get discouraged. You're going to weeble. You're going to wobble. Just, this recovery thing is simple. You need endurance. You got to look at stuff in life differently. I said, man, I'm getting hit from here. Hit from here. Hit from there. But I never touched another drug. I never fell down. You can do the same thing. I'm not different than you. I just use stuff all through my life in recovery. And you're going to need endurance. You're going to weep. And you're going to wobble. Remember that? I used to be hitting. Boom! Boom! And it would never, I said, why it won't stay down? I ain't know nothing about weight at the bottom. I ain't know none of that. All I know, it wouldn't stay down. No matter how hard I hit it, then I had to jump on it, hold it down. As soon as I get up, yeah, I told y'all 2 things y'all ain't gonna never forget. So somebody come to around me talking about, yeah, man, I got this hot. They gonna start looking for cops. You know, you be like, yo, it's hot out here. You say hot. They gonna be like, cop out here. Whatever, you better get out of here. But the word hot gonna make them, they gonna be like, but they gonna get away from you. That's all I care about, them getting away from you, because I'm telling y'all, beautiful women, man, beautiful men. Y'all got so much more, man, to offer the society, to offer your families. And I'm tired of seeing individuals leave and go back and go, then they die. Now their families and suffering. If we're going to die one day, whenever that day comes, but at least let's give our families some joy of saying, that's my son. That's my brother. That's my whatever. You know what I mean? You want to give them that, man. All right. The word discouragement means to oppose by expressing disapproval. Who discourages you? These questions, again, you have to write in who discourages you in these questions, because the people who discourages you, you have to mark these people because you have to get away from them. They can be some people, and for certain situations, they just discourage you. Who encourages you? Who encourages you? My wife is one of my greatest encouragers. Even when I don't feel, I'm always enthusiastic and passionate. That's just who I am. But some days I'm not confident about doing certain things, but she's a great encourager. She'll say something. It's just like if somebody else can say, this is ugly, and she say, it's nice. What they say, it could be a million of them. It don't matter to me. I don't sleep with them. I sleep with her. If she says she like it, I don't care. That's encouraging. So you need to mark the people who discourages you and the people who encourages you. So when you having a bad day, that's why I always tell y'all, like if y'all going, I don't know if I gave y'all my card. It's like, because sometimes I stay connected to all the guys and stuff that I do. I try to, and I'll be like, yo, call me. Sometimes, yo, what you doing? I ain't doing nothing, man. I'm out back drinking some tea. I ain't doing nothing, but how you doing? You having a bad day? Man, all you have to do is talk during that time. You having that bad moment, and then move on with your life. But you got to find out who discourages you and who encourages you. How do you think you handle going through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing? Y'all all handled it well. Y'all don't look like what you've been through. Y'all all handled it well, if I must say so myself. And y'all really did. For real. I was tore up when I was so messed up when I was out there using. My wife didn't even recognize me. That was a real story. Real. She rode right past me, and I was standing there like, what are you doing? I'm right here. She was like, I don't even see it. But what's the difference between disappointment and discouragement? What's the difference between disappointment and discouragement? There must be a balance of both positive and negative. Page 51. Cool, good. Every great work and every accomplishment has been brought into manifestation through holding on to the vision. And often just before the big achievement comes apparent what? And what? Right before the big thing you about to get, you probably going to like transitional housing or get a job. Right before that come apparent failure and discouragement. Perseverance and persistence in spite of all obstacles, discouragement, and impossibilities. It is this that in all things distinguishes the strong souls from the weak souls. Perseverance. Everybody say perseverance. Perseverance. I always think about that word. When I think about that word, I think about the story that my pastor said one day. He said one day him and his wife was out eating. They were eating, and while they were out eating, they made their order. They placed their order. The waitress went to go put the order in. And while he was sitting there, he noticed other people coming in, ordering their food, and they were getting their food before him. Now, it wasn't a black or white thing, because it was different couples that came in, different type of races that came in. They all ordered their food, and they got their food before my pastor and his wife. So after about the fourth or fifth people that came in after him, got their food, he said, Miss, let me talk to you for a minute. Everybody say perseverance. Perseverance. He says, can you please tell me, we came here before all of them, but all of them have received their food and we haven't got ours yet. And the waitress says, sir, I know that they got their food before you because all of them have regular orders. You have a special orders, and special orders takes a longer time. And the reason why I'm telling all y'all that is because remember I said that the first shall be and the last shall be first. You have a special order. Special orders takes a longer time. Everything in your life probably seemed like you was at the back of the line. But don't even worry about it. It's your time to be first. So you have to endure through this process because you have a special order. And I know it might seem like people in your family might have got more things than you. You might have people in your community seem like they were favored more than you. But I'm here to tell you today that we probably was in the last place before, but we have special orders, and special orders just takes a longer time. You just have to endure. It takes a longer time. The gift and the talents that you have, the abilities, the purposes that you have, that we have, and we're going to change the world. When I say we, because I'm a part of you, we're going to change the world, but it takes a longer time. We a little hard-headed. Just a little bit. But it's all right. We just have to endure through the process. If we endure through the process, we're going to do the same thing that everybody else did. We're just going to do it on a higher level. It's our time. Everybody says it's my time. It's my time. Give yourself a clap. Yo, that's it. Yo, I said, today, listen, let me tell y'all. Man, listen. Not only did my father pass, I have 2 nephews and a brother in the jail, in the county jail. All 3 of them was put in the hospital because they got jumped into jail. And I was thinking about, man, my little brother, he's in ICU, and my 2 nephews, you know, no matter if they in jail for something, then they have to do time. But that's besides the point. Just to have your whole family members, all 3 of them, at the same time, the day after I buried my dad, all 3 of them was put in the hospital. And I said, man, you must have endurance. So what I was thinking, because I knew I had to come here, I was saying, I'm gonna inspire more people today than I ever did ever. To change their lives. Because I don't know what great thing that you have inside of you, but everything is coming at me because I'm coming to you to try to get me, not to talk to you, not to inspire you. So I don't want y'all, none of y'all to go back to what y'all used to do. Because I could be with my family, I mean, honestly. I want to be, especially I got 1 sister. That's 2 of her kids was put in the hospital, and the 3rd one fell out and went to the hospital because of what happened to his 2 brothers. So 3 of my sister's kids are in the hospital, and I want to be right next to my sister. But I had to come here. So take what I'm saying to you, cherish it, because not only am I telling you you have to have endurance, I'm living proof that you have to endure. You're going to have stuff you have to endure. But no matter, we was wobble.
Don't fall down.
Thank you, y'all.